Philosophical motives of types. According to Gulenko, each sociotype has its own existential outlook, a philosophically oriented generalized concept of the driving force that directs other people and the world at large. First, objective idealists.
The Inventor ENTp ILE, a universal intellect governs the cosmos.
This sociotype, more than others, believes in the human mind's ability to comprehend the most complicated phenomena, in the intelligent design of the objective universe, and in the fact that it can be described using precise principles of logic. God does not play dice, Einstein said.
The Mentor ENFj EIE. The world is ruled by God, fate, and destiny.
This is one of the most mystic and religious types, honestly believing in its own messiahhood, and perceiving itself as a missionary for cosmic or divine energies.
The Entrepreneur ENTj LIE. Nature is the source of all things.
This sociotype animates nature, becoming a dualist in the process, understanding the material and idealistic beginnings that merge in equal measure in the natural cosmos.
The Psychologist ENFp IEE. The world is governed by a feeling greater than the person. This is one of the most humanitarian types that may serve people without expecting anything in return.
This personality type is predisposed to empathy. Second, subjective idealists.
The Analyzer INTj LII.
A thinking governs the world. Cogito ergo sum, Descartes. When people grasp the systematized laws that govern society, society can be structured fairly. The most constructive sociotype, assuming that any phenomenon may be characterized by universal prime elements, archetypes, forms, a priori categories, and their relation.
The lyricist INFp IEI. The world is dominated by state and emotion.
This personality type has a more adaptable psyche. He is heavily influenced by his inherent nature. As a result, if one is persistent enough, impressing this type in any subject is quite easy. He would, however, just as easily reject the concepts forced on him.
The Critic INTp ILI. The world is ruled by chance.
There are no objective measures. Everything is relative and is determined by chance. This personality type is susceptible to intellectual agnosticism. I only know that I know nothing, Socrates. Knowledge is only achievable when one achieves perfect inner clarity and tranquility, which can be attained through meditation.
The Mediator INFj EII. Kindness rules the world.
The type that is most prone to compassion, even if its words and thoughts are not translated into deeds. This type believes that if everyone follows these idealistic concepts of kindness and fairness in everyday life, it would lead to a more humanitarian society. However, these must emerge from within the individual's soul rather than being forced from outside. Third, objective materialists.
The Enthusiast ESFj SEE. Impulse, enthusiasm, and attraction rule the world.
The most emotional of all sorts, capable of affecting others' moods. This type can be a member of the idealism group because it can only do what it considers likable. However, its reliance on others' emotional states is quite significant.
The Marshall ESTP SLE. Power and strength rule the world.
The most resolute of all sociotypes will only engage in combat if he is certain that he has a numerical superiority, or has discovered a weakness in the enemy forces. This type believes in objective reality as provided by his senses. Everything else is an illusion. The Politician ESFp SEE. Connections, fame and prestige rule the world. The most cautious of all sociotypes, as it learns everything by trial and error. It goes ahead, examining its surroundings through touch and relying solely on its senses. Words, concepts, and ideas are all only tools for exerting influence on people. The Administrator ESTj LSE. Labor, or work, rules the world. This type has the most materialistic psyche. It will only use existing knowledge and laws to support its case. Completely reliant on the work process, submitting its own plans to it. Will reject any hypotheses or schemes that are not offered in the form of pre-existing procedures. Fourth, subjective materialists. The Broker ISFp SEI. Pleasure rules the world. This sociotype will only accomplish work that is enjoyable and not exhausting. This type's behavior is rather compliant, and it quickly adapts to the others, believing that if an atmosphere of comfort is established and anything that would increase the pleasantness of their life is supplied, others will favorably reciprocate.
The Inspector ISTj LSE.
Order and discipline dominate the planet. This type is most reliant on the organization of its concrete environment, entirely subjugating itself to the system it has chosen. Every major alternative is rejected, because deviating from the established and polished system means losing foothold and sinking into uncontrollable chaos.
The Guardian ISFj ESI.
Morality and moral duty control the world. This mentality, more than any other, is determined by its intrinsic moral attitudes. The individual is in the right to treat others as they deserve. The current structure of relations and moral ideals is maintained from extraneous impositions. Even objectively provoked passion can be subdued at will.
The Master ISTP SLE.
The world is dominated by utility. According to its philosophy, this type will never perform anything that it considers to be useless for oneself and will never offer it to others. Its principle is the same as the physical world's notion of minimal action. This type, as the most technologically skilled, believes that the best argument is one that appeals to man's common sense.